and welcome back here to the EBA All-American Camp. I'm Marcus Burnett, joined by Chris Watkins as we get ready to bring you more live camp coverage. This matchup features Team 1 taking on Team 3, as it doesn't take them long to get off to the races. Nice steal, Jordan Pulliam leaving the layup just short though. As we continue to see the Bryce Moore and Austin Venable connection yield results for Team 3.
It's one of those you got to foul him. Nice strong take there by Brent Duncan.
This matchup is going to be a fun one to watch. I mean, as all of them have been up to this point, but a couple dynamics I'm looking to watch is Jared Harper and Brent Duncan continuing to work the pick and roll game like they've done, but also Bryce Moore and Austin Venable doing what they've been able to do. Not to mention Travis Anderson, who's been no slouch at all. Pendley gets it to Moore. Moore and Harper. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Step back jumper. Count it. Moore. We want more. Not sure if you've seen that AT&T commercial, Watkins.
I have not.
Yeah, I was judging by the crickets. I figured you hadn't. We see Garrett Gilkison getting another bucket here for today. And for our viewers that weren't with us here on the first webcast, Chris, do your best job to describe the past, I'd say 12 to 14 hours or so for Garrett Gilkison.
You know, last night he's out there playing the quarterback position, going 17 for, I thought it was 17 for 22. He corrected me, 17 for 21 for 269 yards. 1 TD passing, 1 TD rushing, and then drove about 11 hours to get here. But what I love about him is he's modest. I was talking to him before the broadcast and asked him, anything stand out, and he didn't have anything to tell me. I had to find out about the quarterback thing from Brandon. And he's just had an outstanding morning here, hard in the drill sessions. It took him a little while to get going in the first round of the games. We had a great second half. Had about 10 points in the second half in the first game we broadcast.
A trip to the free throw line here. Jordan Pulliam. Pulliam misses. Venable with the rebound. Gilkison gets a hand on that one, knocks it out of bounds. Coming into the game for Team 1 going to be number 7, Desmond Simpson. Ball out of bounds is going to stay with Team 3. Venable going against Brent Duncan. He's fouled on the play. I'm much happier that I get to commentate about Austin Venable versus having to guard that guy in the post. Tough matchup inside, knows how to use his size well, and it's even tougher when you factor in the touch that he has.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's going to get the next level at Presbyterian. His body's going to continue to develop. He's going to continue to stay in the weight room, and he's going to be a terror inside because he has the ability to step out and shoot a little bit out there, about 15, 16 feet, and then that's just going to continue to develop as he continues to get older, and he's going to have a good career there at Presbyterian.
Garrett Gilkison working hard inside. He's going to be called for a travel. Moore going to be bumped there by Duncan. Bryce Moore ended our last webcast on a very strong note. A great second half for Team 3 there in that one. With such a good start, with the great start that Ty Cockfield had on the opposing team to start that game, you definitely saw Bryce Moore get the last laugh of sorts. with the way he was able to close that game out. Give him a tray ball there.
Yeah, Moore's having an outstanding day here.
Venable defends that shot by Duncan. Gets it to Moore. Moore guarded by Harper. Harper sticking with him, but he's going to drop it off. Weiner can't get the shot to go. Simpson's all by his lonesome, unable to get the shot to go. Weiner gets back and rebounds it. They drop it to Venable. Duncan says, yes, give me that. He knocks that one off the glass. Venable hustles to go to the deck to get it. That extra effort results in another opportunity and a bucket. Joseph Oropeza. Jared gets it to a cutting Harper. Harper with the easy layup. Pebblebrook's own Jared Harper with another bucket to go along with the several he scored here so far today. You know, when you talk about that Pebblebrook team, you know, Jared Harper, number 5 there in the white shirt. You know, he's one tool that they have, but you're not factoring in Ty Hudson, one of the better point guards in the country. Derek Obedi, their big man, who only continues to get better. Really changes and blocks a lot of shots. And then other pieces like Murphy as well. You know, you got a Pebblebrook team that, you know, was in the Final Four last year.
Yeah, I mean, and they've got everybody coming back. You would figure here in the state of Georgia, in the largest classification, they're picked as one of the favorites this year. And I know it's one of those that we'll see them numerous times throughout the year, both in the coverage for Peach State basketball on the Radar Hoops Report, and you know we can always catch them on the SUVtv broadcast throughout the season.
Big man move inside. Brent Duncan gets a three-point play the hard way.
You know, really impressed with his strength inside. You know, and actually I had to talk with both him and his father and some things that, you know, they can work on before the season starts, continue to develop a little bit more of that perimeter-oriented game. But you can't take away what he can do around the rim and his energy level on both the defensive end and offensive end.
Nice dime. Harper's been dropping them all day. Finished by Jordan Pulliam. The Harper and Brandon Clay tandem has been rolling all day here at the EBA All-American Camp. Got about 8 minutes left to play here in the first half. 12-13 ball game. 1-point advantage for Team 1. Harper's fouled on that play. Duncan seals Weiner off. They get it to him inside, easy bucket.
Just once again, Duncan showing his ability to make plays around the rim, his strength of his upper body, kind of take a little bit of a bump. Him and Travis Anderson right here, 24 with the ball, are going to be a good 1-2 combo.
All over the passing lanes there. The steal, layup drill on the other end for Jared Harper. Anderson, little knife through of his own. Really enjoyed Anderson's play. We make sure we give just due there on another bucket by Pulliam. But enjoyed Anderson's play at that Chris Paul National Camp, the Rising Stars National Camp there in Winston-Salem back on August 8th through the 10th. Some of the better players in the country there, and Anderson was definitely...
Yeah, Anderson was actually, he was a late addition to camp. We were excited we could get him in, you know, late. When you get to add a player of his caliber after you've already got a full, you know, a lineup of other talented players, that's just nothing but just addition. And, you know, what we have here talent-wise at the camp. Going to be an exciting player to watch in the 2018 class. You know, just from, I would say watching this, he is one of the best freshman point guards here in the state of Georgia this year.
Bryce Moore has it. Trying to get it into Venable. This Venable versus Duncan matchup. Fun one to watch so far. As Moore and Venable communicating a little bit. Moore was just trying to cut just to get his man out of there. Venable gave him the ball between a rock and a hard place. Gilkison and Duncan. Duncan, again, showing that versatility you alluded to earlier in today's webcast.
Yeah, you know, Duncan's shown that he can do more than just dunk the ball, and that's what we like. Because sometimes when you got a player that does what he does around the rim, they get pigeonholed, and that's all they can do. But he's shown he's more than just an athlete that can dunk the ball.
Finished there by Gilkison. Assist by number 1, Kendrick Simmons out of Banks County. Anderson fouled on the play. It's going to send him to the free throw line. I think beyond the talent that you see, Holy Innocents looking to bring in and build around, one of the coolest things that they have going for them is the bear statue. The enclosed and the glass case bear statue that they have there on site at the Holy Innocents gym. You might not get fired up about something like that, Watkins, but I'm a big fan of different venues, different mascots, different things that kind of get the school/team spirit going. And the bear statue gets me amped up every time I step in the Holy Innocents gym.
Well, I spent a lot of time over at Holy Innocents, in the last 4 or 5, 6 years. So that bear statue, when I first went there, great facility that they got there, both in that front and back gym. We always say it used to be home to our holiday invitation on the girls' side, which was, probably one of the premier women's Christmas tournaments in the country with 2 different divisions with nationally ranked teams, and it was a great setup over there.
Simmons gets the offensive rebound, kicks it. Garrett Gilkison, another bucket for Gilkison. Here's Moore right at Gilkison, and he's going to be fouled. Going to send Moore to the free throw line. Camp setting. So 1 free throw counts as 2. Moore cashes in on that one. It's a 7-point advantage for Team 1. Driving the baseline, the reverse. Pulliam.
Yeah, great take there by Pulliam. You see why he's such an outstanding player for Chesapeake High School, right out of Gainesville, Georgia.
Rebound by Harper. He'll push. Gets it to Pulliam. Woo. Travis Anderson cooking from outside.
Yeah, Coach Terry Kelly was telling me about Travis Anderson, what he's going to be able to bring to the table there for the Bears. They look to make another run in the state tournament like they did last year. Built a great program there at Holy Innocents, consistently making the state tournament and, deep into the state tournament there. So there's his high school teammate, Brent Duncan, again, scoring, having a fantastic day here on Peach State TV, brought to you and powered by SUVtv.
Nearly another Anderson bucket there. He misses. Pulliam will bring it the other way, looks off the defender, and the pass to Kendrick Simmons for the easy layup. It's a 10-point advantage for Team 1. Just under a minute left to play here in the first half. Moore to Venable. Venable trying to show the touch from outside. He misses. Weiner tries to save it off of Harper. Harper backs up, brings it the other way accordingly. In the drop off to Gilkison in the finish.
You know, we had talked about in the earlier broadcast, you know, just All-American athlete, you know, quarterback, shooting guard. Even shows he's got a little bit of bounce right there. If you throw out a J Billisism, you know, just adds another rung to his ladder there in transition.
That's Moore saying, don't believe me, just watch on that jumper.
That's why I'm sitting right here by, you know, one of our lead nationally evaluators for On the Radar Hoops Report. Brandon Clay scouting Jonathan Hemingway, and I know he's taking copious notes here on Moore to get to our subscribers all over the country.
So that's going to bring us to halftime. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marcus Burnett. He's Chris Watkins. We'll see you back here in 2 minutes. And welcome back here to Bogan Park, here in Beaufort, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. So we're ready to bring you more live camp game coverage here at the EBA All-American Camp. It's Team 1 versus Team 3. In our third of 4 live camp webcasts we'll have for you today. We'll have 4 more tomorrow as well. Be sure to stick with us. Marcus Burnett joined by Chris Watkins. That young man there is Brent Duncan. He gets a hand on the pass, but now it's in the hands of Jared Harper, who takes care of the rest. Then Harper comes back, gets a steal. You probably can count that one.
Wow.
Gets the layup, gets the steal. Open three-pointer in the corner. It was cash money when it left his hand.
You know, I was telling Harper's dad, you know, I'm glad I'm not the head coach over at South Cobb anymore, because I wouldn't know how to guard him, plus all the other high-caliber players they've got over there at Pebblebrook.
Yeah. And touch on that point. I think when you know, we've talked about some of the strong points of Harper, and I think his dad, you know, and the way his dad coaches him has been one of those things that's been a strong point for him, just as far as his eye on the court. his basketball acumen, but I think that toughness is definitely something that you've seen his dad, Pat Harper, be able to instill in him. That's why he's able to do what he does, even when you have a stature that maybe leads to speculation, when you're suiting up.
Yeah, and Georgia always has point guards that have came through here and been successful of that stature, whether it's, Ty's that used to play at Columbia, or you had Tony Bagdis at Westlake, both high caliber point guards that were smaller in stature, and he's just showing that he's kind of that next generation of point guard.
Great point, and as good as Taj Shamsit-Dean was at Columbia, and as solid as Bagdis was at Westlake, each player had their own strong points. Neither one of them were as good of a shooter as Jared Harper. And there we see him knife through, and Harper gets another layup.
Yeah, and right before that had another basket by Travis Anderson. And he's a name that you're going to be hearing for the next 4 years out of Holy Innocents. Once again, Harper again in transition.
Anderson off the mark on the jumper. Pulliam able to save it. Simpson kicks it to Harper.
It's one of those little too unselfish right there.
Yeah. The big fella, Venable.
I like the quickness on the spin move, though.
It's the big fella, Venable, going to be called for the travel. But as you mentioned, good feet for the big fella. Trey ball off the mark. Anderson hand and face on that one. Wrestles the offensive rebound away. Nice rebound there by Anderson. Had to snatch that one away from three opponents. Still able to take it away and get the bucket. Harper, the assist inside. Garrett Gilkison finishes. Weiner, tough shot, no good. Harper jumper, ice cream.
He's just having one of those days. I mean, he plays at this high caliber consistently, but you look at his percentages, and goodness gracious, Anderson too.
Gilkison misses inside. Pendley with the spin move and dropping it off. Anderson with the finish. Anderson scoring both inside and outside. Harper will pull it.
I don't even know what to say anymore, honestly. I mean, just wow every time down the floor.
We said it earlier in our Game 1 webcast. It really is a layup when Harper is shooting those threes.
I'm not a betting man, but if anybody wants to take bets on Pebblebrook to win the state championship this year, because I know what else they've got on their team, I'm willing to throw that in right now.
And of course, he's referring to Gatorade. And when you look at Pebblebrook and them possibly being able to be in that championship game, one of the obstacles to them getting there last year was Wheeler High School. They're in that 6A division. And with Jalen Brown and those guys still in tow going into this year, I'm sure we're probably going to see that matchup in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and what's going to be exciting now in the Georgia High School State Tournament now for the first time, they're actually going to cross over north and south, much earlier than they usually have. So you're going to have some different matchups than you've had previously, whether or not the North's always dominated. And you're going to have some great matchups here in Georgia. You always look Norcross to be good, in the highest classification, the North Gwinnett, and then you always got the talented Gwinnett regions, whether it's the Central or the Shiloh, and that's another great pull-up there by our football player who's showing that he's just an outstanding basketball player as well, and Garrett Gilkinson.
Yeah, like you mentioned, man, with the 17 of 21, a passing TD and a rushing TD, I'm glad I started him on my fantasy team last night, man. He did a great job. But back to what you talked about as far as the basketball playoffs. You mentioned that north-south dynamic, and I think Tift County, out of South Georgia, winning the 6A championship, beating the Wheeler team that we mentioned, defeated Pebblebrook. I think that's a prime example of how, that north to south dynamic, and how, South Georgia really takes it seriously as far as showing that they're about more than just football down there as you shoot down 75.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big win for South Georgia basketball together, because they take a lot of flack up here in the Metro Atlanta on the message boards and things like that about them never winning. So if you're a basketball fan in South Georgia, that's a huge win just for all of South Georgia basketball.
And how fitting for Tadrick Jackson to be able to seal their trip to Macon. He had a very strong performance against Norcross, the same Norcross team that you mentioned, who plays tough defense, whether it's a scrimmage or an inter-squad game, let alone in the playoffs. He was able to shred them for close to 30 points.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those, it didn't matter who they threw at him on that night. I was watching that game.
It's got to be hard to beat a guy who's playing on the floor of the place where he'll call his college home for the next 4 years.
Yeah, maybe it's just it shows what we're going to be able to see there for the next 4 years.
Because, having not been a D1 prospect, I can only imagine that vicariously. But if I'm playing in a Final Four game on the court where I'm going to play D1 ball for the next 4 years with a full scholarship, it might get me kind of amped up too.
For those of you watching on the broadcast, you want to enlighten everybody on what floor that was?
Great. That was McCamish Pavilion. That was the home of Georgia Tech. I talked about the experience enough without mentioning the campus or the facility at all, so I appreciate that. That's good teamwork right there, Watkins.
Yeah, and that's a great brand new revamped facility. I believe last year was the first year since they've revamped it, or 2 years ago, and it's outstanding. It's a great home court setting for Atlanta basketball, and you always love in Atlanta, you love when Tech is good, and they're going to have Marcus Hunt back next year, and who is a local Atlanta product, and you love when Georgia players stay home and go to Georgia schools. If you're a Georgia basketball fan, whether it's UGA, whether it's Georgia State in the run they made last year, almost making the NCAA tournament, and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and whether it's...
And that can't even mention Mercer's run, so, I mean, down there out of Macon, so...
Yeah, Mercer had a great run. Langston Hall, their point guard, big part of that. I can remember some of the first Georgia high school basketball webcasts I did down here in the area were of Langston Hall over at Chamblee. Went from that moment to beating Duke in the tournament.
I mean, me personally, I was excited about that. I hate Duke. I mean, I know someone out there, just be honest. I don't know why, just a slap in the floor and all that. Nothing to take away Coach K. He's one of the best college coaches ever and one of the greatest leaders ever. I just can't buy into Duke basketball.
I can understand.
That's just my own personal opinion. That is not representative of anybody at Peach State basketball or SUVtv.
The views expressed by Chris Watkins do not necessarily reflect the views of SUVtv and so on and so forth. But no.
Now, however, had Coach K offered me a scholarship, I would have gone there and I would have loved it.
Yeah. Safe to say about 99.9% of the population probably fit into that boat.
Good for my actually former assistant coach, John Kelly, who passed away last year. His son was a starting wide receiver at Duke for all 4 years. So we do have some Duke love around here.
I think that's what's good about sports. You know, you can look at what's effective, what's productive. You know, you can give teams and programs credit for their accomplishments, whether it's, you know, championships, whether it's, you know, student athletes, whatever the case may be. But you can also separate that factual side, and you got your fan side as well. You know, whether it's the Yankees, you know, I respect the Yankees as a franchise, but as an Atlanta Braves fan, I'm not the biggest fan of the Yankees. And one of the biggest reasons why we don't have as many championships as we possibly could. Respect them, just don't like them.
Right there, that's again Brent Duncan inside showing his strength. You know, he's had a great day here at EBA All-American Camp.
My first time seeing him play in person. I had heard about the dunking ability. I'd seen the dunking ability, you know, via the internets. But being able to see Brent Duncan in person today, I've really been impressed by the fact that he does so much more than just dunk, the strength that he plays with. And I can't wait to see him and, you know, Travis Anderson team up together over there at Holy Innocents.
And last time down the floor, that was once again Joseph Oropeza with a 3. You know, he's had a great outing here today. You know, you look for him to have a strong career at Flowery Branch High School over the next 4 years. You see these players, they went so hard in drills today, and, you know, we don't give them their money's worth when they're here, and they all just look exhausted right now.
Yeah, work's definitely been put in. You know, we live in a day and age to where, you know, the social media is great from a standpoint of exposure and coverage, but a lot of times you see people talking a lot about the grind and getting better and doing this and doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to actually just see it in action as well.
Once again, that's Jordan Pulliam. Plays for Coach Chad Pittman there at Chesapeake High School, who's looking to, you know, bring that program back. And Hall County basketball here in Georgia, it's a different experience if you've never seen it with Lanier Land. If you're ever in the Georgia area, you need to make a trip up there and check that out.
Catch and shoot, Gilkison showing the mid-range off there. Just under 2 minutes. So we're gonna have 3 in the key. Rebound by Pulliam. Gilkison has a mouse in the house inside and finishes.
Wow.
Our guy Ty Pendley out of Southeast Whitfield. He's been knocking down the jumper all day.
Ooh, nice Euro. It's actually PHILLIP Vincent out of McIntosh High School.
Nice defense by him there along the baseline. Rebound by Gilkison. Drops it off to Vincent. Vincent says, my bad, coach. No, he should have just went up with the layup. Trying to be a little too unselfish there. Pulliam. Pulliam to Simmons. Simmons to Vincent. Easy 2. There's Weiner. Weiner going to be fouled by Gilkison, and that's going to bring game 3 of 4 to a close. Here on SUVtv, we appreciate you joining us for the EBA All-American Camp. Stick with us. We've got one more webcast here for today. I'm Marcus Burnett. He's Chris Watkins. We'll catch you back here for the next game.